Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha, and today I'm going to be doing a rather large, mostly middle grade book haul. So one of my goals this year was to read all of the books, or maybe not all of the books, but a lot of the books that I already have on my shelves. And while I'm doing a rather decent job of that, I'm also accumulating books quicker than I can read them. And I have said in previous videos that I don't have a problem, I have a hobby. And while I still wholeheartedly believe that this is my hobby, I love what I do, and this goes in with my actual job as a children's librarian anyways, I also am okay with recognizing that I might have a problem at this point, because just this year I have purchased somewhere probably over 60 books, and it's halfway through March. So I need to tone it down just a little bit. In this book haul alone, this is from February and March, and most of these books came from March's book haul, which I am doing this a little bit earlier, but it's also with the hopes that I won't be hauling any more books this month. So we're going to cross our fingers and hope and pray that this is going to help me not buy any more books right now anyways. But I bought I think 7 books in February, and then the rest of these are from March. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and jump into this, and I'm going to try to just not give the full synopsis for all of these books, mostly because I don't know if I can remember all of them anyways, but I'm just going to tell you kind of what piqued my interest in it, and maybe it will pique your interest as well. So like I mentioned, this is a mostly middle grade book haul, but I do have some adult and young adult books as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start with adult and then work my way down from there. So the first book that I have is called After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I read not the 7 Half Deaths. Okay, there's 2 books with Evelyn's in them, and I always get them mixed up. But the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I read that book by her, and I really liked her writing style. I've also read her short story called Evidence of an Affair, or Evidence of the Affair. One of those 2. I read it on ebook, and I really enjoyed that as well. And this book just sounded really interesting. It says it's a breathtaking novel about modern marriage, the depth of family ties, and the year that one remarkable heroine spends exploring both. So this is about a couple, Lauren and Ryan, and their marriage is kind of on the rocks. And so they decide to spend a year apart and see how that affects them and where to go from there. That was a really interesting concept for me. And so it says falling in love is the easy part. I'm married. I've been married for, the fact that I have to sit here and think about this is just ridiculous, 8 years. And I've been with my husband for, it's about to be 10 years actually this year. Okay, I was about to say 11 years. No, we haven't hit our 10 year. So I think this will be, I want to say relatable in a good way. I'm hoping that their year off is going to make them realize it's worth it. Love is something to fight for. And that's the direction that I'm kind of hoping it's going to go in, but we'll see. It does sound really good, and I think it's going to explore marriage in a more serious tone, because so many people don't realize you have to choose to love somebody every day. It's not always all the emotions and all the feelings. You choose to love that person every day. And so I'm hoping that that's what these characters will find out and learn to love each other through their year apart, I guess. So yeah, I'm really interested in this one. Then I also have A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. I don't know how to say that. Amor Towles, I think is how it's pronounced, but I'm not sure. Bree from Call Me After Coffee raves about this book all the time. It's one of her favorites, and so I finally decided to pick it up. I'm not sure when I'll get to it, because I don't tend to gravitate towards historical fiction very often, but I do think I'll enjoy this. I think it's supposed to be a little bit of a slower pace, but I'm still really intrigued by it. I don't really remember what it's about. I know it's about Count Alexander Rostov. It's set in the 1920s, and he is sentenced to house arrest at this hotel, and that's all I really know about it. But it intrigued me, and like I said, Bree raved about it, and that was enough to get me hooked. Then I have The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin, and I don't really know about this book either. I think it's a book about books, and that's what piqued my interest maybe. Yeah, A.J. Fikry, he lives alone in his bookstore, and some books have been stolen, and then there's a mysterious package. It just sounds good. I don't know. If it's a book about books, I'm probably going to pick it up. And I don't know when I'll get to this one once again, but it's one that I've wanted to read, and I found it cheap at my library's book sale, and it's like in brand new condition, so I had to get it. Another great find at my library's book sale was Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. Somebody donated this once again in like brand new condition, and I snagged it for $2. So I had to get it. How do you say no to that? So yeah, this is Anxious People once again by Fredrik Backman, and I think this is about some people that are like in a hostage situation at a bank. It says it's a poignant, charming novel about a crime that never took place, a would-be bank robber who disappears into thin air, and 8 extremely anxious strangers who find they have more in common than they ever imagined. So that was enough to pique my interest. I have read Fredrik Backman before, but I've only read his short stories, or they're not short stories, novellas. I've read And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer, and The Deal of a Lifetime. And I really enjoyed those, so I think I will enjoy this one as well. I've heard mixed things, so I'm not really sure, but like I said, I'm hoping I will enjoy it. And then I have 2 more adult books, and I'm really excited about both of these. So if you remember in January, I read The Winter People by Juniper Berry, and it is probably going to be one of my all-time favorite books. Like, it's just a very memorable book. I think I gave it 4.5 stars just for really silly reasons, but it's a great book. And so I got more Juniper Berry books. So this one is called Burntown, and once again, I don't even remember what this one's about. I just knew Juniper Berry wrote it, and that was enough for me. All I really know is somebody was murdered, there's like a killer on the loose, there's a group of misfits. I don't know anything else about it, but it's Juniper Berry, and so I had to pick it up. Then I got rather the surprise from Book Outlet. I ordered The Night Sister by Juniper Berry, which is also just, I don't really know anything about it. It's paranormal, I'm sure, and I just don't know. But it's Juniper Berry, and if you haven't read anything by her, you need to, and you would understand why I don't even have to know what it's about to pick it up. But this is a signed first edition, and that just made me super excited. It is also signed, and so yeah, I'm super stoked about that. And actually, I think Burntown may also be signed, but yeah, I had no idea what I was getting, but I'm really excited because, like I said, I love her, and I'm excited to read more from this author. Jovi has momentarily joined me. She just got done with her dinner, I think. She doesn't tend to like to be on camera, so she won't stay here long, I'm sure, but she was just visiting mom. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some young adult now. So the first one that I have is The Lost and Found by Katrina Leno. Katrina Leno is another one of my favorite authors, and I'm working on collecting all of her books. This one is about a boy and girl who were pen pals when they were younger, and they, I believe, kind of bonded over some trauma from their childhood. And now they are embarking on this journey to find each other and maybe find some lost things on the way. So that's all I know about this. I could care less what it's about. I'm going to read it because Katrina Leno wrote it. So that's just another one of those things. It's an author by, and I'm really excited to figure out if I like this one as much as I have enjoyed her other books. Next up, I have a graphic novel called Displacement by Kiku Hughes. This is set in World War II, I believe, and it is... Let's see, it says it's 1940s Japanese-American internment camp. So this girl, I believe, gets sent, like she travels back in time to when her grandmother was in this internment camp and gets to learn, I guess, kind of what happened back then. That's all I really know. The artwork is really pretty in this, and I thought it was interesting to have like a graphic novel set in during a wartime, and so I picked this one up on Book Outlet. It was super cheap for being a graphic novel, which is always good. So yeah, I'm excited to figure out if I like this one. I've really been enjoying graphic novels over the past couple of years, so I'm hoping this will be one I can add to my list of favorites. Next, I have I'm Still Alive by Kate Alice Marshall. I initially picked this book up because Kate Alice Marshall wrote a book called Rules for Vanishing, which I haven't read yet, but I'm sure I'm gonna love it, and I don't know if I like this one or not, but I wanted to pick it up anyways because it's kind of like a mystery, and it's about this girl named Jess, and she is alone in the woods in this cabin, or her cabin burned to the ground, and somebody killed her father, and it's kind of like a survival story also. She's gonna survive, but she wants to get revenge because she knows who killed her father. That just sounded really interesting. I like the survival aspect, I like the revenge aspect, I like the mystery aspect of maybe trying to get to figure out who killed Jess's father. So I'm excited to check this one out and see if it's something that I will like. The last young adult book before we hop into all of the middle grade is Thornhill. This is another, I believe, graphic novel. I would call it a graphic novel. It's written in a way where there's like pictures on a bunch of pages, but then there are also like pages with writing, so I'm not really sure what this is classified as, but it's Thornhill by Pam Smy. And this was a book that one of my college friends was reading while I was still in college, and I read the first little bit of it and told her when she got done with it I wanted to borrow it, and then I think I just forgot about it. So I saw it on Book Outlet and knew that I had to pick it up, and so I'm really excited to dive back into this and figure out what this mystery is. It says, a lonely girl in a new town, a ghostly figure in the window, a derelict, I don't know if that's how you say that word, old house, and a mystery spanning the decades. An orphan faces a bully alone and plots her revenge. Years later, a girl catches glimpses of a figure in the window of a burned out and abandoned old house and begins to unravel the mystery of Thornhill. So that sounds really interesting. I love that there's lots of pictures and it's like a multimedia type book. I'm sure I will like it, and it sounds really spooky. And if you know me well at all, you know that I am always down for a spooky book, so I'm really excited to pick this one up. Okay, now we're getting into all these middle grade, and I'm going to try to get through them as quickly as possible because I know I could be here all day talking about them. So first up, I have Escape from Mr. Limoncello's Library by Chris Grabenstein. This is a book that I am reading with my middle grade book club at the library that I host, and it just sounds like it's going to be really fun. It's about this guy who is a game creator, and he ends up designing this library, and so he hosts this like opening lock-in for kids to come in, and they have to try to escape from Mr. Limoncello's Library. And I'm really excited about this one. It's a series. I think there are 5 books in the series. I don't know if I'll finish all of them, but I am really excited to read this first one. Next up, I have A Place to Hang the Moon by Kate Albus, and okay, I've already read this one, and I am going to rave about this book 10,000 times, so you might as well get ready. This book is so stinking good, and I don't want to overhype it, but I really enjoyed it. So it is about these 3 orphans. We have William, Edmund, and Anna. They are 12, 11, and 9, and their parents died when they were young. They were living with their grandmother, and she has now passed away. This is all set during World War II, so this is historical fiction, but it doesn't really rely heavily on that aspect. It relies more on the family ties and different things like that, and it's just so good. So these 3 siblings get evacuated to the English countryside. They are evacuated, 1, because of their safety, and 2, with hopes that they will be able to find a permanent family. And it's kind of one of those situations where they get placed with very unsuitable families, but they find solace in the village lending library with Miss Mueller or Nora, and they want more than anything for her to be their new mom and for them to all be a family. But there's something going on with Nora that prevents the town from thinking she is suitable to be their mother, or suitable to even foster them, and so that is kind of the storyline we follow. I will say, if you like Matilda, this very much reminds me of Matilda. And I will explain that more when I review this book because I'm already talking a lot more about it than I should, but I'm excited about this still. I love this book. I already want to reread it, and it was incredible. Other books that I've already read are Witch Hat Adeliere by Kamome Shirohama. This is volume 1 and volume 2. These covers are stunning. Can we just talk about how pretty they are? I mean, this artwork is just... This is also the illustrator that does like DC and Marvel like covers and stuff. So yeah, I've read the first 2. So this is the first volume, and then we have the second volume, and then we have, I went ahead and bought like 5 of these. So there's volume 3. The backs of these are really pretty too, but that would take forever to show y'all. Volume 4, and then we have volume 5. And so yeah. Olivia from Liv's Library kind of got me on a manga kick, and this is one of the manga series that she recommended, and I really enjoyed it. And so, like I said, I'm not even finished with it, but this is probably my favorite manga right now. It's between this and Orange, but I think this one kind of takes the cake. This is 5 stars. The second book was 5 stars. But let me just tell you what it was about. This is about a girl named Coco, and Coco wants nothing more than to be a witch, but she has been told her whole life that you have to be born with these powers, but later on she finds out that you may not have to be born with these powers. She meets Fikry, who is this magician right here, or this witch, and she learns a little bit more about magic and witches, the dark side and the light side of this, and it's really cute, it's really good, it's whimsical, and fun and serious all at the same time. It's just so good, and I highly recommend it. If you want to try to get into manga, I think this is probably the first one I would recommend you picking up. Next up, I have The Click by Lissy Harrison. I don't really remember what this is about, but I picked it up at my library's book sale because I read it in middle school. I remembered reading it, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's so nostalgic. I have to pick it up. I just know it's a Mean Girls story, basically. I'm sure it's full of gossip and just stuff that's probably going to annoy me at my age now, but as a middle schooler, this was my cup of tea, and so I'm excited to reread it and see why I loved it so much then. Next up, I have If This Were a Story by Beth Turley, and I think this cover also is really cute. Most of these covers are really cute, which is what attracts me to them in the first place. But this is about a girl who, she's 10 years old, and she is being bullied. It's like, my name is Hannah Geller. I'm the only girl in 5th grade to have little red bumps on my face. She's unable to let sad thoughts escape her mind, and she leaves heads up pennies wherever she can go to spread good luck. And she experiences magic in the most unlikely of places. So I feel like this is going to resonate with my younger self, and so that's why I wanted to pick this one up. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I really hope to. I have not heard anybody talk about this one, so I'm excited to give it a try. Next up, I have another book that is very nostalgic for me. This is Hoot by Carl Hyacin. I think that's how you say his name. I may be wrong, but I actually have never read this book, but I watched the movie as a child. If you are a 90s baby, or maybe even an early 2000s baby, if you know Hannah Montana, that's more early 2000s, but Hannah Montana's Jake Ryan character was played by Cody Lindley, and Cody Lindley stars in the Hoot movie, and I think there are a couple other actors that I know, but I can't remember. He's always the one that I think of because I thought he was so cute when I was a kid. And so this is about some kids who are trying to save some owls that are in this park or forest or something, I can't remember, that is about to be demolished. And so this is all about them saving the owls, and I don't really know anything else about it, but I know I love the movie, and so I really want to read this book and then rewatch the movie. And I also didn't realize it is a Newbery Honor book, so that makes me even more excited to read it. I also got this book from my library book sale. We can see a theme here: book outlet and library sales. So this one is Maybird Among the Stars. The first book is called Maybird and the Ever After, and I haven't read that one yet, but I think I want to, so I went ahead and got this because I got it for like 50 cents. So, yeah, or $1. I can't remember. I think I always give more than what I'm supposed to, but I can't remember. I think we charge maybe $1 for these. But anyways, so yeah, I don't know what this is about, and I don't want to really read the back of this one because I don't want to spoil the first book because I haven't read it. But it says it's a breathless mix of horror and hilarity. It looks creepy. It looks magical, and it just looks good. You can see the first book on the back here. I don't know, well, possibly. I don't know if you can see it. But yeah, it just looked interesting, and so I picked it up. And then next, we have Mall Unbound by Aisha Saeed. I picked this up because I'm participating in the 3 Blondes in a Book Club with Liv from Liv's Library, Zoe from Zoe Delaney, and Kaylin from Kaylin Abridged. And this is about a girl named Amor, and she dreams of becoming a teacher, but those dreams are instantly dashed when she ends up insulting a member of a Pakistani village's family who rules, and she ends up having to work at their estate. So this is about indentured servitude, and she finds out that there are some not right things going on with the family she's working for, and that they will do just about anything to protect their interests. So I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. Just based off the synopsis, it's not like something I would pick up on my own, but the cover is super pretty, and I did read like the first chapter before I got it just to make sure, because like I said, it doesn't just initially pique my interest because it sounds like it's going to be a very heart-wrenching story, and I don't always want to read those. And then it's about indentured servitude, which also makes me feel like it's going to make me feel really icky because I don't like the thought of slavery or servitude or anything like that. But yeah, I read the first chapter and I was already gripped, so I think I actually might enjoy this. I hope that I do, and if anything, I think the cover's really pretty, so we've got a win there. Next, I can't remember if I've hauled this or not, but this is the Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Meadowstone. That's a tongue twister almost. This is by Jacqueline Moriarty, and I recently found out that Jacqueline Moriarty is actually Leanne Moriarty's sister. So I've read The Husband's Secret by Leanne Moriarty, and I enjoyed that. So I don't know if Jacqueline writes anything like her sister or not. sure they're probably different. I mean, just because they're sisters doesn't mean they write the same. But I have heard nothing but good things about this book, so I'm really excited to read it. It's about this girl who's now an orphan. Her family has been killed by pirates, and now she is like going around to all of these different aunts that she has to visit them. She's got like pirate aunts and aunts. I need to decide what I'm gonna say. Are you guys like that? Do you say aunts or aunts? Let me know in the comments, and if you say it like ants, spell it like the insect ant, so I'll know. But yeah, do you say ants or aunts? I can never decide what to say. But she has like a farmer aunt and a veterinarian aunt, pirate aunts, like all these different aunts or aunts or whatever you want to call it. It just sounds really good, and I'm really excited to get to this one. I'm planning on hopefully buddy reading this with my friend Liv from Liv's Library whenever we decide to pick this one up. Next up, I have Love, Sugar, Magic, A Dash of Trouble by Anna Mariano. And this is a book about a girl whose family owns a bake shop. So one, there's baking, and then two, she finds out that her family is actually, they're Brujas, like her mother, her aunt, and her older sister are Brujas, which are witches of Mexican ancestry. And then it also takes place around Dia de los Muertos, which I love. Like, I love anything that has to do with that. I'm just fascinated by that holiday and the culture around that. So yeah, I'm really excited about this book. That's all I know about it. That's all I need to know, and I think I'm going to love it. Next, I have The Peculiar Incident of Shady Street by Lindsay Curry. Lindsay Curry also wrote Scritch Scratch, which I got last year for Christmas. I haven't read it yet, but I was really excited about that one, and I hadn't realized that she had wrote one. I think this came out before that one, and I don't know anything about it, but it's supposed to be spooky, and there's like a mystery around something that happened on Shady Street, and something is trying to communicate with our main character, which sounds really creepy, but like, I tend to like creepy things, so we're gonna try this one and see if I like it too. And then we have Juniper Berry by M.P. Kozlowski. It says it's a tale of terror and temptation. I don't know if I'm gonna like this book or not, but it's pretty short, so it shouldn't take me long to find out. But it looks really creepy, and it looks like kind of claymation on the front. And it says it recalls the work of Neil Gaiman, Lemony Snicket, and Hans Christian Andersen, which, by the way, we'll just go ahead and throw this up here that I have Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales in this beautiful Penguin Puffin Puffin Classics edition. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. We're just gonna go ahead and throw that to the side. But yeah, I love all of those things. I love especially Neil Gaiman, Lemony Snicket. Grew up loving A Series of Unfortunate Events. So I expect to love this. I hope that I do, but I feel like it's something about their parents sold their soul to the devil or something, and now they're trying to like rescue them and overcome their own demons. So who knows, but it's creepy, so I'll probably like it. Then we have My Diary from the Edge of the World by Jodi Lynn Anderson. This just looked really interesting. It's set during the American Civil War, but, well, actually it's not set during the Civil War. I don't know why I said that, because I'm trying to read the back and tell you guys at the same time. This is one I need to tell you about though. So, Gracie Lockwood is a typical girl in a world that isn't exactly typical. So, think our world, and then some magical stuff's coming in. One where Sasquatches helped win the American Civil War, where dragons glide over Route 1 on their way south for winter, and mermaids hunt along the beaches, and where dark clouds come for people when they die. To Gracie, it's all pretty ho-hum until a dark cloud comes looking for her little brother Sam. Her parents pack the family into a used Winnebago and set out on an epic search for a safe place that most people say doesn't exist, the extraordinary world. It's rumored to lie at the ends of the earth. To reach it, the Lockwoods will have to learn to believe in one another and to trust that the world holds more possibilities than they've ever imagined. So this is actually also written in diary form, which I'm excited about. It's a coming-of-age story set against a backdrop of wonders, a gentle family portrait that sparkles with science, myth, magic, and the strange beauty of everyday marvels we sometimes forget to notice. So this sounded really good. It's a little bit thicker than I thought it was going to be for a middle grade, but I'm really excited to read it and figure out if this is one I will like. Magical realism is one of my favorite things, which I feel like this might be a little bit more on the fantasy side, but I'm really excited to read it nonetheless. Next up, I have Alone by Megan E. Freeman, and I'm really excited about this one. So I originally picked this one up because I found out that it was a survival story, and our main character, her name is Maddie, and she awakes to discover that she's completely alone, left behind in a town that has mysteriously been evacuated and abandoned. And her only companion left in this world is books. I mean, I'm going to pick it up at that. And this Rottweiler named George. And this is like her survival story, and it very much reminded me of Hatchet by Gary Paulson. And I did enjoy that book as a child, though I didn't enjoy the writing so much. So I'm hoping I'll enjoy the writing here. And I didn't know this until I bought it, but it's actually written in verse. And so I'm excited to read a novel written in verse that is also a survival story. I feel like it's going to be one that I'll enjoy, and I'm really excited to pick this one up. Next, I have Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. This is the third book in the Cassidy Blake series, and it's also going to be the final book for now. Victoria Schwab has come out and said that she is stopping with the series for now, and if she comes back to it, she's going to do it in arcs of 3. It's also been picked up to be a television show, and so I'm really hoping that that'll come out sooner than later because I think it's going to be awesome. I just love this series because it's spooky, and it also has really good family and friend values, and then I don't know, there's like mysteries, and it's set on different backdrops of like the haunted places throughout the world. And it actually talks about, well, in the paperback versions, which when the paperback of this comes out, I'll be getting it. I have the other books over here, and I have both the hardback and the paperback. I like the paperback versions because in the back of them, they actually show the places that Cassidy visits in these different haunted places in the world, and talks about actual local legend that it's based off of. So I think that's really cool. I've talked about this a bunch on my channel, so I'm not gonna go into it much. Hopefully that was enough to pique your interest. Then I have The Spinner of Dreams by K.A. Reynolds. This is a book that has been on my Goodreads TBR for a very long time. The cover is very pretty. This is about a girl named Annalise, and it's about this fate spinner, and I don't really know much more about it except that she's gonna go into a labyrinth. And I like things with mazes and labyrinths and puzzles and stuff like that, so I don't need to know much else. I think it's gonna be kind of a fairy tale-esque story, and I'm really excited about it, and I don't know anything else about it. I haven't really heard anybody talk about it, but I'm excited to try it out. Oh, and also, when I got the book, this is another book outlet fun find, it came with this pretty bookmark in it, and I'm like, well, this looks like what they give you like when the book first comes out, which it says the release date was August 27th, 2019. So I was like, I wonder if it's signed, and guess what? It was. So it's signed by K.A. Reynolds, and it says follow your dreams, and I just love it. So you just can never go wrong with Book Outlet. You never know what you're gonna get. Okay, then next I have Pages & Co., The Book Wanderers. I've also seen this titled as Tilly in the Book Wanderers, I believe in the UK. This is by Anna James, and it's about a girl who travels into different books, and these characters come out of these different books. It says Anne of Green Gables and Alice from Wonderland start showing up at this bookshop at Pages & Co., which is her grandparents' bookshop. And now she is discovering that she can wander through pages of books. So this sounds really cute. I think it's a series too. So it looks really cute. I've had this on my list. This is one of the first books I put on my Goodreads TBR too a couple years ago. So it's about time I got to it. So I decided when I saw it on Book Outlet that it was time for me to pick it up. Okay, I've just got a couple more books left. So I don't know if any of you 90s babies or 80s babies know about this show. I think it was on like PBS or something. It's a British show, but it was called The Worst Witch, and it was about this girl named Mildred Hubble who went to witch school, and she was the worst witch. Like, she just had a really hard time figuring out how to be a witch. I had no idea that that series was based off of a book series, and I loved that show as a kid. Like, I would come home from school, and I think the show would come on at like 3:30 or 4 or something, so I was always rushing to get home so I could watch it, and it was so good. It's on Amazon Prime if any of you are wondering and want to check it out, but it's also a book series. There are 8 books in this series. That's all of them on the back. So I just went ahead and got the box set from Book Outlet, and I'm so excited to read these because, like I said, I love the show. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. Then I got The 21 Balloons by William Penne Dubois. I'm not good at other languages. I need to get better. This is a Newbery Medal winner, and it came out a long time ago, I think. It came out in 1947. Oh, cool. And it is about this man named Professor William Waterman Sherman, and he leaves San Francisco in a hot air balloon, intent on flying across the Pacific Ocean, but instead he ends up landing in Krakatoa. And there are some secrets there, and I have no idea what this is about, but in short, it's a Newbery winner, and it looked really interesting, and I heard a couple people talk about it. I can't remember. It was either Krista or Katie or Amanda, and I cannot remember which one of them talked about it, but it was one of them. I know it was in one of Krista's videos where she compiles all of the booktubers together for Middle Grade March, and they give recommendations. It was in one of those videos. But yeah, I've heard people talk about it and I'm really excited to try it out. Then I got Nutcracked by Susan Adrian. This is just an adorable book that I plan to read around Christmas time, and I think it's a Nutcracker retelling. I'm not really sure. It looked cute, it's short, it's Christmassy, and I liked it, so I picked it up. Then I have The Day the World Stopped Turning by Michael Morpurgo. It says it's the people who don't fit in who change the world. This is set on the backdrop of World War II in the French countryside, and this follows Lorenzo, and Lorenzo meets a girl named, I don't know if this is Kezia or Kezia. She's a Roma girl, and they become friends. Her parents are on this carousel. Then some things happen with the war, and it destroys everything. I believe Lorenzo, our main character, may be autistic. Correct me if I'm wrong if you know this story, but I believe he's either autistic or on the spectrum, and that makes me even more excited to read this because I haven't read a lot of stories about children with autism, so I'm really excited to see how that plays into this, and I'm really hoping that there's good representation here. If you know, please let me know in the comments. I'm going to read it either way, but I would like to know the accuracy of it from somebody who either experiences it or has a family member with it. But I am really excited to read this. Like I said, it's set during World War II. I typically find that with historical fiction, I like middle grade historical fiction more than adult historical fiction. So I'm trying more of these to figure out kind of my area of what I like in historical fiction. Okay, we're at the last book. So this book, I saw this, gosh, probably last fall, I think on Lexi's channel at Alexandra Roseland. And this is The Magnificent Monsters of Cedar Street by Lauren Oliver. This just looks super creepy and awesome. Like, this cover is gorgeous, and it's about this girl named Cordelia Clay, and she lives with her dad, and her dad has this pet shop. I think it's a pet shop. Either it's a pet shop or he just takes care of these pets. He saves and heals remarkable creatures. Dragons, squelches, diggles, yeah. And then there's also this vampire dog, which is on the front, and he just looks so creepy, but also so cute. So I'm really excited to read this one. That's all I know about it. It sounds like it's right up my alley. I like creepy stuff and fun stuff and whimsical stuff, and this sounds like all of those things. Okay, y'all, you have made it to the end of my book haul. This was very massive. I think there were 44 books if I counted correctly. I'm really excited to read all of them. Some of them I have already read, as you knew when I mentioned that. Yeah, I definitely have a problem and I need to stop spending, so hopefully you will not see a book haul from me for at least a few months, because I don't need to accumulate any more books unless I'm reading just a little bit quicker. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these books and what you thought about them. I would love to know. And also, while you're here, if you don't mind, hit the like button below, and if you would like to see more videos from me, you can hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications anytime I post a new video. Thank you all so much for stopping by and tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!